Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine. The time to say yes to your dreams and aspirations is here.
I am exceedingly happy to welcome you to this Instagram live chat with actor, director, and script writer Fred Amata. Tonight's session promises to be wonderful. For those who may not know, Olorogu Fred Amata is an actor. He's also a director and is equally a scriptwriter. He was born on May 18, 1963, and that makes 57 years old. He's from Isoko in Delta State. He's a theater arts graduate of the University of Jos. He is currently the president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. Fred Amata is from the popular Amata acting dynasty. His father, Ifogale Amata, was a renowned actor. Same with his uncle, Zach Amata. Then we have Fred Amata, we also have Deta Amata, and we have River Amata. There's also Ruki Amata, my friend. Yeah. Among his popular works are Legacy, Mortal Inheritance, which fetched him an award back then at Tema. That's talking about the movie awards. There's also The Return, Black Gold, The Amazing Grace, The London Boy, Dangerous Desire, and Nini. Hidden Treasures, to mention but a few. Yes, now your late father, Ifogale Amata, no doubt was a great actor. Likewise, your uncle, Zach Amata. Now, did you also go into acting because of that? Or it was what you wanted to do originally?
Okay, as well, this is how I put it.
Yeah.
I like to proudly aver that I come from a legacy of creativity. And that legacy is established by Pa John Ifogale Amata, who you rightfully described, my father and the patriarch of what has become known as the Amata dynasty. His first son is Zach Amata, who in the days of First Act 77 was there and was in the earliest soap opera, Behind the Clouds, one of the earliest soaps ever on national TV, Zach Amata, and he was the role model for the Nigerian father. And then Zach is my elder brother, not my uncle. Jetta.
All right.
So my father is the first generation. Zach's generation is the second generation to which I belong. And then there's Ruke Amata in that generation, and Nena Amata, and Eloho Amata. The other one is Professor Ifo Amata. He's in academics. Then the next generation is Jetta Amata. We also have Jefe Amata, and then my son and daughter have done something. My daughter is now a graduate of film school from London, and she's a director. So that is the establishment of the Amata dynasty. We all grew up watching my father's film that he shot in 1957, and almost everybody wanted to be like Daddy. And so it was no coincidence that we are populated in the family of other theater artists, filmmakers, or writers, and stuff. So that is the brief background of the Amata dynasty and why we all are a product of this legacy of creativity.
I love that. I love that beautiful story that you just told us. Now, so what makes a good actor?
Well, I don't know where to place this now. Usually, what I want to say now, I say it when people ask me what advice would you give to new actors? I say talent is not enough. So, what makes a good? I say talent is not enough. There are three general things that each has 33.3% that you must achieve to all make a 99% for what makes a good, if you like, actor or a good artist or whatever. Okay, and the first thing I say is talent is not enough. So I'm sure the same thing applies to your environment. You're in the creative sector yourself. You can have the
That's
talent,
true.
but you must also have the second. There are three things. One is talent. The second one is what we refer to as management or administration, how you set yourself up together to do whatever is your chosen field. And the third one is the X factor, 33.3% of each of these. So, what makes a good artist? Your talent, how you develop it, you relate to the developments all around you, how you position yourself to be received by your potential audience, clients, and so on and so forth. And then the big X factor, which is God, creativity, nature, the universe. The two that you could, and that is out of your hands. The two that it's only one you can control really, because talent is given to you. It can be built, but it's actually given. It can be developed, and because it can be developed, there's that huge area of administration, development, management of a team. And so for me, it is going through that entire gamut that brings you out as a good actor because you would have honed your talent and built it. And you would have learned the basics, how to internalize, how to express, how to get into another character and be that character rather than act that character are the things that really will stand you out as who's a good actor. So it's all encompassing.
Now, what makes a good filmmaker?
Um, First, you might want to define what a filmmaker is, if it's all encompassing, or if it's just the guys who are actually behind the camera. But uh, I would answer it with the same answer I have just given to for acting. But in filmmaking, for instance, let me assume that the director is a filmmaker, which is my key area. And then you must first of all have a talent, like I said, which is not enough, and then a knack for relating with the people that you put together, a vision for what you want to do with the film, and loads of creativity and experiment. There are so many tools available to the director. You need to concentrate on which you feel best interprets your story. Passion, passion makes you a good filmmaker because there's so many little bits and pieces that you have to pursue to ensure that you can make a good film, that you must be passionate enough to be resilient enough to pursue it. I think it's that resilience that makes Nollywood such a rapid growing industry. I think that's it. So if the passion generalizes it, down.
What do you like most about being a filmmaker?
The ability to express, to be
I don't know.
creative, the ability for creative expression, freedom of creative expression, the value of the creative impetus and the freedom of expression is one of the high points of what endears one to being a filmmaker.
All right. So, what don't you like about being a filmmaker?
Um, Several challenges of the difficulty of um, truly in the environment now of being able to truly live off filmmaking. It's one of the lowest points. Filmmakers survive between blocks.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough.
So, what is the commonest mistake that most filmmakers make?
Uh, Believing that their expressed creativity must be appreciated by all.
Okay.
Yes.
Uncle Joe says you should come out.
You didn't hear this one now. Because Uncle Joe is a creative, expressive person.
I like
Uncle
that.
Joe,
I like
he's
that.
an architect, for God's sake. He's
Yeah.
designed the Central Park. For God's sake, Central Park is one of the, how would I call it, one of the standout edifices of Lagos State. Come on.
Yeah. Uncle Joe is a genius. Uncle Joe is a
Rich in
genius.
history. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rich.
Uh, all
So,
right.
filmmakers tend to think that because they've put it together, because of all the pain they have gone through, it's a hit. It's a lot to do with the creative impulse also, I think. That's one of the biggest mistakes. Then in these parts, that's even going in detail about scriptwriting. We don't really get to shoot the best of us. We're still evolving, so everything is still on the low, as high as we have gone. And I still think that as
Uncle Joe is making just. Uncle Joe says I'm going to go tax collector. They watch us too.
uh, now we dey talk now, say money no dey now. Say money no dey, we are dey talk. Let's not do. You want do.
All right,
So,
now, what would you say has been the greatest thing that being in Nollywood has done for you?
um, it has given me a life. Nollywood is my life. I work, play, Nollywood. I'm a filmmaker. That's all I do. So it has given me a livelihood. It has given me a life. It has given me recognition. It has given me expression. It has given me job satisfaction. And it has given me plenty of wahala.
Okay, what has it not done for you? Yes, Fabrics, thanks so much for joining us again.
Well, somehow I've managed to travel a lot because of productions, Nollywood schedules, and stuff. So I would say I'm fairly widely traveled, but I'm fairly below average earner. I'm fairly so Nollywood has not taken me above. So I'm still below the belt people when it comes to the bank accounts and financial world. They are still
Okay.
toddlers.
Okay. Okay. Now you're currently the president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. What would you describe as your greatest achievement as the president of that body?
Okay, let me just say this. I'm currently the outgoing president. I
I
cannot
know
wait to see that.
you're still the
Just,
president. You
I
haven't
like to
gone
tell
there.
you what my tenure has long since expired. I'm doing overtime.
Okay.
And because of COVID-19, my handover was
Okay.
supposed to be in April and everything, but now we have a new date for January. And I'm praying to God that the second wave doesn't push it any further because as president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria, I do not want to describe, um, I would say whatever it is that I have been able to achieve for the Directors Guild of Nigeria is still another achievement um, compared with what the vision was and where we were going. But we have been able to put in some structures that were not in place and maintain the dignity and integrity of the guild. There are certain areas that were difficult to touch that still bother me as an outgoing president, but there's always so much you can do. And one of my greatest downers in Hollywood was this past 4 years of learning. I think the best thing I can take out of this was that it was a huge learning process. I'm a greatly changed individual from the experience of being the president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. And it was a really shocking experience. I haven't said this much, I haven't said much about this, but it went a long way to show that a lot of us practicing within the environment are not really, um, when it comes to the administration and should I use the word politics of running a guild, a lot of us are totally missed it. They think it's politics as usual. They go into political frenzies and creates unnecessary tension. Things that don't really exist. But somehow DGN, as one of the guilds in Nollywood, has been able to maintain a serious level of decorum when it comes to transitions politically. So for me, the 4 years of experience, it showed me that there's still a lot more to be done. So let's not start lauding much of what we have achieved, but we worked quite a lot. Certain things we still remember.
Now you are one of the few directors who also act. How do you juggle both?
Um, I'm one of the few practitioners who actually encouraged the transition from television to what Nollywood is today. I'm one of the few at that particular time. around from, let me just say, from the late 80s to the early 90s, who had actually gone to the university to study theater arts, major in film, and was posted immediately to NTA to work as for my youth service. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to establish my background as an actor, director. Indeed, from 1988 to about 1991 or two thereabouts, I was directing a program called Ripples. That's where we met, as you are reading.
I, I remember.
I was I was acting in it because, like I had established, I was born into a legacy of creativity. So I didn't start acting in university. I actually started acting at about 8, and by 13, 14, I had a small drama group, and we used to perform nativity plays. We used to perform the birth of Jesus Christ and all the, and then we used to have the give the story of the three wise men and King Solomon. We had skits we used to do as boys, and just my age. So I've been an actor director even without knowing it until I went to study film, to study theater arts. And when it came to film, my first encounter with the practical part of film, I had to make an A with the theoretical part. I had to make an A because I had been doing the practical part. I had actually been screening my father's film, putting the film reel, some people don't know what I'm talking about, putting the film reel in a sprocket and beaming it on the wall for my cousins and family or guests to see. I used to go into the transmission room in our house here in Ikoyi. You were in that house.
Yes, I
Uh,
was. I was.
I was long prepared to be a film director, and then at the time when Nollywood was breaking in, most of us who had gone to study theatre arts were breaking away from theatre arts and trying to go into other sectors. And one of the major sectors then was oil and then banking. So I chose oil and tried to struggle to go and work in NNPC as soon as I was direct, as I was sent to do my youth service. But somehow, fate, instead of NNPC, sent me to NTA, and then I met Victoria Zokoliye, I met with Lai Ransomi, I met Atina Hua, I met several Ifeanyi Ayafulu, who gave me my first chance on hand working as a practitioner after everything I've learned in school. Atina Hua gave me my first chance as an actor. So even before the years of Ripples, I was already training. Then when the Ripples years came, I was prepared. And when, so I have a long background of managing, acting, and directing. And then in the earliest years, I chose not to do a lot of acting because in the transition years, there was a lot of, there was a lack of quality in everything from storytelling to script writing, and I could guide that well. So for a long time, I maintained my, as I was more of a director, even a director for hire, not even a producer, even though we produced several. So I picked up the pecs. It's not so tough when you know what you're doing. Um, Producing is what comes in between. Directing, the director is at liberty and has a lot of people trying to support. And producer has to be paying, fighting a lot of people not to ask for too much money. And so um managing, acting, and directing, I should say, from my years as a organizer of nativity plays for family Christmas nights and Easter. So then went to school to study, then saw it practically, and then Nollywood was born, and then guided Nollywood, and then in Nollywood, what should get nationality is around, and the quality has shot up in the sky, and they're there.
Thank you. Yes. Now, between acting and directing, which one do you think and why?
Okay, I answered that question partly now. I think we were born, we are, we are in Africa, especially Nigeria, born naturally with a gift for acting. I think I use an argument when I talk about the evolution of Nollywood, and I say Nollywood is evolving department by department at different paces. The first to really evolve fully is acting because we are natural. But when I when acting comes naturally to us, we still have not given our actors uh, the best opportunities to express. So, despite the fact that acting is very advanced in Nigeria, in Nollywood, our actors are still to deliver at their best capacity because they are never ever given sufficient time to prepare. Now that's one of the things of the Nollywood and the evolution of the Papa syndrome and how it is being managed now. But in other areas like directing, it's taking longer. Like script writing, it's taking it has evolved a lot from the days where we used to have stories like Glamour Girls, where there were packed different people's stories that just ended, to the stories where you have uh, the what that tells you about the hero's journey, one protagonist, one target, and all the obstacles that deprive him from getting there. Um, so I tend to see that directing is the most important. And in my early years, I decided that I will give more to directing so that it will be a balance in terms of the ideas and the qualities. And you can easily argue when Nollywood was evolving where the trends were coming from. Um, they had several blocks, though. The one that I know the best was the group of the body of directors evolving from, let's say, ripples. So you have Andy Amenechi at the top, and then I follow, and then Mataya Sobahiagbon and Chico Ejiro. So the first ripples years, but this translated to other directors who worked under these various people at the early stages who became the now directors who transcended and all. So all the hot new directors were under one of these people at some time or the other, with a few exceptions here or there. It's hard to call names because there's so many names. But the general idea is that these people created the styles. If I tell you one simple thing that used to happen in the early days of film shooting, everything faded to black. Now, unless you are in the industry, you understand what that is. Until some people started insisting on what just a cut. You will okay, fade to black. Even the script writers used to like to say fade to black because it was a TV, it was more a TV tool than a film tool. And so we were doing a lot of TV directing for film. But now all that has changed. The DOPs create more dynamic shots. The directors are more interested in better movement and all that. So everything is well.
All
So
right.
I didn't directing, but acting comes naturally, and even if I dare say so, in this environment, it's easier directing and pays more.
Okay.